In this video, we're going to take a look at how to automatically set up a sales invoice for somebody that has been updated into a Google Sheet. Now, if you watch the previous video to this in this flow, it will have shown you how to create or update a contact in Xero from input into a Google Sheet. Now, this could obviously be from anything. It doesn't have to be a Google Sheet. It could be your CRM system. It could be an Excel sheet. It could be somebody's filled in a form somewhere. It could be somebody, there's been an email sent in. Just anything where you would normally then go to Xero and create contacts and sales invoices, you could include as the starting part of your trigger. I included a Google Sheet because it was nice and easy for me to show you the information laid out like this. But this first initial part could be a trigger. If you're unsure on how to set a trigger up and how it works, I have another video called Basic Introduction to Zapier, which is on my channel. I'll leave a link in the description. So we've already created a contact in Xero, and what we're going to do now is we're going to create them a sales invoice. Now, you can, if you create a sales invoice without creating the contact in Xero, it will create them a contact as well as the invoice. The reason why I would do the create a contact first is because the invoice option doesn't give you all of the stuff like address and all these other fields that you can fill in as part of their contact setup. So if you want to set up a contact a bit more thoroughly and more depth, I'd use this and then use the create a sales invoice afterwards. If all you're looking for in your contact is the name of the person in their email, then you could skip this part out and you could go straight to create a sales invoice. Okay, so we'd click on create a sales invoice, choose the specific Xero account that you want to do this for, and then it's going to bring you up all these boxes. Again, these are categories within Xero that it uses to create the invoice. If you're unsure about how an action works and what these boxes really are, click the link in the description, go to the basic video, and then come back. So again, we want to choose the organization that we're doing this for. Contact name, we're going to use the one that we created in Xero, but you could use this because it's the same, it'll match it. Email address, again the one we created in Xero. So again, all these fields, anything that we've done previously, we can use in this part of the Zap. If you add another action on, you'd be able to use stuff that you've created in this one. So we could, for example, when we've created this sales invoice, we could set up I know Xero sends emails, but this is just an example of the types of things you could do. We could send an email with the invoice attached and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is just go through and just fill them in. Okay, you can click how you want this to be. So if you just want to have it as a draft, fine. If it's submit for approval, fine. If it's approved, again, fine. The date, okay, the date is a funny one. As default, it will just be to the creation date, which is fine. But if we want to have this approved, which we do, then you need a due date for it. So what I would do here is I would come into this create a or update a contact in Xero section, and I would choose the updated date that you've got here. That's going to be pretty much exactly when this contact was created, because it's all going to run straight after each other. So we can put that in there. Now the due date, your due date could just be the same. Could just be the same date. Or we could be looking at 30-day terms or something like that. So if we're looking at 30-day terms, there is something specific that you need to do. And I'll show you that now. So there's two ways. What you can do is you can just put plus 30 days here, and I'll add 30 days on. However, if you want to be a bit more sure, and see the specific date that it's actually going to spit out the other end before you process this, come in and add a step here. What we want to do is we want to go on format by Zapier, and we want to choose date or time. Continue. We want to transform, and we want to add / subtract date time. Sorry, the input is going to be this date value here. So if you look at the examples here, it's pretty much got what we were doing in the actual the input into Xero here, but we're just going to do it here so we can see what happens. So we're going to go for plus. And then you want to choose how it comes out the other end. Just pick any format that works for you. So you can see here now the output is December the 4th, 2022, which is exactly what we want. So look at today's date down here. It's the 4th of November. So now if we continue and we come down to the due date, and what we can do is we can take that out, we can go onto this section and we can just import that like that. So two ways of doing it. I kind of prefer it the second way because you're basically checking that this has actually worked before you've inputted the invoice, especially when we've got something like this which is to do with financials and it's going to be going direct to the customer. It's always good to make sure that it looks right first. So what we can do is that. So we're going to have the original date when we set up the contact and then 30 days plus. Obviously that depends on your terms. Currency, obviously just choose the currency which fits you. If you need any attachments or anything like that, we can import. Now, send to contact. Now, this just actually marks it as sent. It doesn't actually send the email. Okay, so that's up to you how you use that. What we're going to do here is the actual line items in the invoice. So what's going to be on the invoice? So first we need to choose the tax. So they're going to be inclusive or exclusive of tax. I'm just going to choose exclusive, but that's up to you. There might be no tax. If you've got an item code, great. I don't, so I'm not going to be using that. The description. So I've got in here the program 1. So I'm just going to put program 1 in the description. That could be anything that you've got in this spreadsheet, or anything that's happened previously. Quantity. You can just type in here if you want, so I'm just going to put 1 because I don't have the quantity of anything in here. I know that it's only going to be a 1 program thing. If it's something slightly different, like they're purchasing multiple items from you, then it might be worth obviously having in your spreadsheet or your CRM or wherever the information is coming from a separate section for how many of these things they've purchased, and then you could import that into the quantity. The unit price is here, so we're going to import that. Just a quick one back on the sheet, if you want to use VLOOKUPs, so let's say that we choose program 3, it inputs the cost for us automatically, nice and simple. If you want to know how to do that, then check out my VLOOKUPs video. Again, there'll be a link in the description for that on my channel. Go back to here, if there's any discount, obviously put a discount in, if not, then there's not. And then we want the account that this is going to be associated with. This is just sales. Tax rate. This should bring through all your tax rates that you've got in there. Perfect. So we want 20% on 20% VAT on income. Again, if you don't charge VAT, then that's completely up to you, and that depends obviously what country you're in and all that sort of stuff. So that just fits with what I'm doing. Click continue, and then it's going to tell you all your empty fields that you're not filled in case you've missed something, and all the fields that we have filled in. Okay, we're going to go on test action. Okay, now that should be created. So if we go to Xero and we click on this contact, you can see the invoices here. So it's sent it through already. If I click into it, you've got all the stuff that we filled in, and the invoice is all there. Any questions, leave a comment in the section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.